George H.W. Bush. Curt Smith joins us. Curt is the author of the new book, George H.W. Bush, Character at the Core. There's a look at the book, and you got a brief glimpse of our friend Curt, who joins us this morning from the University of Rochester, where he is actively pursuing the melding of young minds in terms of English and presidential leadership and communications. Curt, thanks so much for your time here on America's Forum.
Well, my pleasure. And Congressman Olga, great to be with both of you. And you talk about teaching young minds. I'm remembered and recall that great philosopher Casey Stengel, who often talked about the youth of America. And of course, the youth of America are the adults and the leaders of tomorrow. And so it's a treat for me to deal with them at the U of R, one of the great schools in the country, and teaching English, particularly public speaking and presidential rhetoric, sort of living, if you would, my past life as a speechwriter to a good friend and I think a great president, and someone who this year, George H.W. Bush, if you can believe it, turns 90 years young.
All right. Well, that is great news. We all wish the former president well. And you just got to level with us, Curt. Something that you could tell us about President Bush 41 that might come as a surprise.
Well, you know, it's interesting. He had, as he was president, a view that I think a president should have a certain decorum, a certain dignity. And as such, I think America often didn't get to see the real Bush. You ask what is a surprise? I would suggest a great deal. I think America would be surprised at his sense of humor. We have one anecdote in the book after another about the great sense of humor of George Herbert Walker Bush, I think exemplified by the fact that he told me in our first cabinet meeting of speechwriters that he would rather quote Yogi Berra than Thomas Jefferson, which was great with me until I was deflated because I found that Bush knew more Berra-isms than I did. I think people would be touched, as I was, and as readers will see in the book, by the sentimental side of Bush. He's a softie, as he will freely admit. Mrs. Bush, as she will freely admit, is made of sterner, harder stuff. They don't call her the executioner in that family for nothing. And I saw the president once in Kennebunkport search 45 minutes to find a grandchild's stuffed animal. And no one was looking. There weren't any cameras around. He didn't talk about this, but he really is an extraordinary human being. And then, of course, finally, his war record. He is a genuine, bona fide American hero. He comes from the greatest generation, as Tom Brokaw said, and he really is a wonderful emblem of that. And so he wouldn't talk about that either, particularly in either campaign for the presidency of the United States. So I think, frankly, you asked a very pertinent question, but I think the book, George H.W. Bush, Character at the Core, and character is at his core, surprises really, if you would, emerge one page after another.
Well, we look forward to it very much. Curt Smith, we are so glad that in this short time you gave us so many different facets of the Bush personality and the George H.W. Bush that you know, and it's reflected in this new book, George H.W. Bush, Character at the Core. Curt Smith, thanks very much. We're going to continue our discussion right after this.